Hey Reddit, I've been having a bit of a family conflict and I want to know if I went too far here. So here's some context. My kids, 13-year-old son and 15-year-old daughter, and I have this fun tradition where we build Lego dioramas around the house, leaving little Easter eggs and scenes for each other to find. It started as a way to bond and it's evolved into something we all enjoy together. We've got all sorts of setups. Harry Potter casting spells on a miniature Ewok, Iron Man battling Darth Vader on top of a toy truck, silly scenes like that. It's our thing, and we love it. Last month my brother Jake, who is 40, and his family came to visit. Jake has an 8-year-old son Oliver, who's pretty mischievous. Oliver was fascinated by our little Lego scenes and went around admiring all the setups. I was happy he liked it, and I didn't mind him playing with them while they were here. But after they left, I noticed several of our minifigs were missing. They were part of scenes that my kids and I had spent a lot of time on, so it felt like a small betrayal. I assumed it was probably Oliver who took them. I called Jake to let him know. I asked if he could bring back the Lego pieces the next time we saw each other, as they meant a lot to my kids and me. Jake shrugged it off, saying, "It's just a few toys." Oliver's a kid, he probably didn't realize. He promised to return them at some point but didn't seem in any rush. A week later, Jake and I met up for coffee, and I'd reminded him the day before to bring our Lego pieces, but he forgot again, brushing it off as no big deal. I could feel myself getting irritated. I get that they're just Lego figures, but my kids and I put effort into these scenes, and they bring us a lot of joy. It wasn't about the actual Lego pieces, it was about respect for our things and teaching Oliver that taking things without permission isn't okay. The tipping point came last weekend when we went to Jake's for a family BBQ. I'd reminded him once more to have our stuff ready, and he just laughed, saying he'd get around to it eventually. That was the last straw for me. So, as a bit of a lesson, I decided to give Jake a taste of his own medicine. I told my kids that, unless our Lego pieces were sitting on the table when we arrived, they were free to borrow anything they fancied. To my surprise, they fully embraced the idea. They swooped in and picked up all sorts of things: remotes, drink coasters, small electronics, even a few of his prized beer mugs. They went full Viking mode, leaving him with hardly anything loose in the living room. At one point, I even had to sneak his dog back inside the house because they jokingly tried to bring him with us too. As we were leaving, I heard Jake calling my name from inside, but I ignored it. It was only on the drive home that I saw multiple missed calls from him. When I finally called him back, he was furious. "A bunch of stuff's missing from my house," he practically yelled into the phone. I told him I'd check with the kids, but that we could bring his things back the next time we saw each other, if he returned our Lego pieces first. Later that evening, Jake showed up at my house with our Lego, and he even brought along a few extra pieces that weren't ours. After exchanging items, I told him that this is how I'd handle things going forward if he didn't respect our belongings. He was fuming, insisting that making him drive over was ridiculous, and that I was overreacting. I told him it was about respecting each other's stuff, and setting a good example for Oliver. Now my parents have gotten involved, and they're on Jake's side. They think there's a huge difference between an 8-year-old accidentally taking a few Lego pieces and my teenagers pillaging Jake's house. They think I went too far and should have handled it privately with Jake, rather than teaching him a lesson this way. But I feel like my kids learned a good lesson in standing up for themselves, and I hope Oliver learned one too. So Reddit, am I the asshole here? Should I have just let it go and waited for him to return the pieces on his own, or was I justified in making a point? What do you think? Let me know in the comments.